Welcome to This Week in Astrology. This is episode number 674 for June 16 through 30, 2025. The King of the Gods aspects three potent, slower planets in the second half of June. Jupiter squares Neptune and the Saturn-Neptune midpoint, and also quincunxes Pluto. We also have a massively aspected Cancer new moon, a multi-layered summer solstice chart, and lots of aspect patterns. Dive in to learn how you can benefit from this busy summer sky. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm your host, Benjamin Bernstein. I record these forecasts as an audio podcast and a video, so take your pick. The video version includes detailed chart graphics, which you can also see in my written forecasts at astroshaman.com. Be sure to subscribe to This Week in Astrology, and if you have not already, be sure to click the link in the show notes for 2 chances to win a free Astrology Plus session with me each month. In fact, I announce our June winner during this episode. Keep your ears peeled if you have entered. Look for timestamps in the show notes so you can jump right to the day you want. As of June 16, the moon is waning, Pluto is retrograde, and we have 5 continuing aspect patterns. See details and links to all this in the show notes. Our first day is Tuesday, June 17. Jupiter squares the midpoint of Saturn and Neptune today. This interpretation will consider key possibilities of Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune in combination. Click the link in the show notes for my interpretation of Jupiter square Saturn, and I'll interpret Jupiter squared Neptune next in this forecast. Jupiter squares Saturn and Neptune for 3 months in 2025. This aspect came into orb on April 29th, peaks today on June 17, and ends on July 30th. Orb means close enough to make a connection. Here are some of the square's negative and positive potentials. Negative. The bursting of grandiose illusions can lead to deflated hopes and dreams. Hollow religious rituals and dogmas, combined with mundane busyness, can obscure the depths of your spiritual imprisonment. Positive. Philosophical and spiritual maturity can support practical idealism and compassion. Mystical consciousness can help you achieve balance and humility. You can experience the positive sides of adversity and challenge. You have abundant support for law of attraction manifestation, which is linked in the show notes, conscious dissolution, and embodied awakening. Big thanks to the extraordinary astrologer Ren Butler. Much of this interpretation I just gave you is based on content from his book, The Archetypal Universe, which I enthusiastically recommend. On Wednesday, June 18, a Jupiter-Neptune square. Jupiter, 2 degrees Cancer, Neptune, 2 degrees Aries, is in orb April 29th through August 2nd and is exact today on June 18th. It was also in orb, but not yet exact, September through November of 2024. Negative. On the more challenging side, Jupiter could expand Neptune's potential for addiction, substance abuse, or excessive escapism. Avoid aimless wandering or martyring yourself in a relationship. There's expanded potential for confusion, delusion, and deception, so watch out for false teachings. Reality check ideas with your inner guidance if you can access it. Otherwise, vet them however you can to avoid getting sucked into a compelling falsehood. The 4 core questions from the work of Byron Katie are especially helpful during this. 1, is it true? 2, can you absolutely know that it's true? 3, how do you react when you believe that thought? What happens? And 4, who would you be without the thought? I like to add a 5th question. Can you hold all beliefs as conditional and potentially subject to revision or replacement? Positive. This Jupiter-Neptune square can also support many wonderful things, including life-affirming spiritual teachings, religious practices focused on direct personal enlightenment, deeply enhanced flow states, easy access to spiritual awakening, deeply enhanced divine inspiration and creative inspiration, expanding your inner artistry, gaining wisdom from dreams, and receiving deep insight from your inner wisdom. What if realism is just trapped imagination? Focus on what you want as Jupiter aspects Neptune, and this square can help you make it real. On Thursday, June 19th, are your important relationships supporting your life purpose? This is the question posed by a mystic rectangle that starts today on June 19th, peaks on the 24th, and ends on July 1st. It includes Venus, Juno, and the lunar nodes. Venus, potent in Taurus, a sign she rules, represents all important relationships. Juno, in Scorpio, has a more specific meaning. She's the asteroid goddess of committed partnership. Finally, the lunar nodes represent life purpose. Taurus rules endurance and perseverance. Scorpio rules transformation and evolution. With the relational planets in these signs, which relationships are working fine as they are? Which ones need release or transformation? Taurus and Scorpio also represent sensuality and sacred sexuality. Is your sex life fine as it is, or is it time to take it to the next level? On Friday, June 20th, the Sun enters Cancer at 10:42 p.m. EDT, marking the summer solstice. With the Sun in Cancer for the next month, there's extra energy supporting the themes of family, home, and security, as well as emotions and shadow work, also known as trauma healing. Astrology charts of the solstices and equinoxes give a sense of each coming season. As it turns out, this summer solstice chart is packed with aspects and aspect patterns. If I've previously discussed these, I'll simply link to those interpretations in the show notes. Doing this will keep this summer solstice interpretation from having too much repeated material. With so many aspects and aspect patterns in this summer solstice chart, are there any main themes? Perhaps they are complexity and choice. With so much energy and information flooding in, where do you put your focus? Human brains simply are not designed to process this much input. That's why I have found it tremendously helpful to maintain and deepen embodied awakening. This profound peacefulness makes it much easier to be the calm eye in the middle of the hurricane. Embodied awakening also lets me get guidance from my inner wisdom when my human brain gets overwhelmed. With that said, let's dive into the complexity. Aspect patterns. As I mentioned, the following are aspect patterns that I have interpreted previously or will interpret later in this episode. They're all linked in the show notes. We've got a T-square with Jupiter, Saturn, and the lunar nodes, a wedge with Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and the lunar nodes, a double Yod key with Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune, a Thor's hammer with Juno, Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune, a mystic rectangle with Venus, Juno, and the lunar nodes, and that mini grand trine with Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, which is, of course, the most important astrological event of the entire decade. Again, all that's linked in the show notes, and they're all part of this summer solstice chart. Now, let's go to individual aspects. Sun and Moon. Most of the aspects involving the Sun and Moon are covered in my interpretations of the new moon on June 25th and the double Yod key peaking on June 21st. Those are both coming up in this episode. These include 11 aspects, including Sun conjunct Jupiter, Moon sextile Jupiter, Sun sextile Mars, Moon trine Mars, Sun quincunx Pluto, Moon square Pluto, Sun square Saturn and Neptune, Moon semi-sextile Saturn and Neptune, Sun trine Vesta, Moon opposite Vesta, the Sun semi-square Venus. Wow. In addition, a Moon Chiron conjunction and Sun Chiron sextile harmoniously support trauma healing as well as serving others as a healer or wisdom giver. And tight Moon Uranus and Sun Uranus semi-sextiles can help you embrace your uniqueness, follow your intuitive hits, and serve others with your special gifts and talents you most love to use. Mercury. A Mercury Chiron square supports giving or receiving wisdom. A tight Mercury North Node trine can make it easier to align your learning, teaching, writing, and communication with your life purpose. Next up, Venus. The meaning of a Venus-Juno opposition in the summer solstice chart is included in my June 19 mystic rectangle interpretation, which I gave earlier in this episode. A Venus semi-square to Saturn and Neptune can boost your creative output. It can also add power to law of attraction work focused on money or material abundance. Mars. I interpreted an intense Mars-Uranus square exact on June 15 in our previous episode. I've also linked to its written version in the show notes. I interpreted these Mars aspects in my double yod key interpretation, Mars sextile Jupiter, and Mars quincunx Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. A Mars Vesta sextile harmoniously energizes your ability to selflessly support a worthy cause. Jupiter quincunx Pluto. I'll interpret this important aspect in depth later in this episode in the June 24th segment. Jupiter square the Saturn-Neptune midpoint. I interpreted this square earlier in this episode. And Saturn, a Saturn-Neptune conjunction supports embodied awakening, law of attraction manifestation, and conscious dissolution. And we've got Saturn sextile Pluto. We're going to go into this a little more deeply. Again, just as a reminder, this is all things happening in the summer solstice chart. Like I said, it's really busy. So again, Saturn sextile Pluto, positive. Profound discipline, strength, and endurance. Heroic self-control. The capacity to bear down with great force and pressure on difficult situations until they're resolved. A deep sense of responsibility. An ability to build powerful bridges and foundations. Solid successes. Challenges which lead to an urgent reformulation of priorities. A need to cut your losses and deepen your commitment to the important things in life. Profound feelings of powerlessness, but with the resolve to continue. A willingness to face every part of your unconscious despite the difficulty. Completion of the death-rebirth process and owning your shadow. Expressing titanic forces in a way that helps the external world. Even though this Saturn-Pluto sextile is a harmonious aspect, its darker possibilities can still arise. In fact, many are clearly happening domestically and globally right now. They include ominous forebodings and a sense of danger, feelings of anxiety and fear, negative or threatening forces, a perception of irrevocable pressure and change, the failure of law or structure to stop decay and decline, evolutionary setbacks and reverses, crushing defeats, the limits of power, rigid armoring and hardening, defensiveness and entrenchment, reactionism and fundamentalism, damaging overexertion, the negative consequences of abusing power, the costs of obsession, attachment, or holding grudges, unstoppable force meets immovable objects, intense control and domination, brutal repression of yourself and others, inhuman cruelty, the inescapable certainty of death, hard destructive energies and emotions, cold-blooded murder. Actually, there was one of those this morning as I record this with a politician in Minnesota being killed, politically motivated crime, exploitation, hate and vengeance, sexual abuse, massacres and genocides, weapons of mass destruction, ecological disasters and catastrophes, and all hell breaking loose. On a personal level, we can use this Saturn-Pluto sextile in life-affirming ways. Others may use them to spread evil and darkness, but our job as conscious, awakening humans is to use them for the highest good of all. Every single person who holds a state of consciousness radiates it to the collective. We are all energetically linked. Even if you just hold this more positive personal expression of Saturn-Pluto and never say a word, it radiates that effect out strongly. Each of us does make a difference. We truly are the ones we've been waiting for. Much of the content I've just given you is from Ren Butler's wonderful book, The Archetypal Universe. Thanks, Ren. Then we've got Saturn sextile Uranus, and that is linked in the show notes. Thank God that one was short. As I said, this is a complicated summer solstice chart. I don't suggest trying to work with everything I just gave you. Instead, choose the themes that feel most resonant for you, quality over quantity. Also, on June 20th, a peaking Thor's hammer zeroes in on committed partnerships. This hard aspect pattern started on June 6th, peaks today on the 20th, and ends on July 7th. It includes Juno, Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune. If a committed partnership is going well, this Thor's hammer can help you make it even more wonderful. If it's time to let a relationship go, challenging circumstances could draw this to your attention. If a relationship is ripe for healing, there's a link in the show notes to my relationship post that can give you some helpful insights around that. Juno represents committed partnership. Jupiter can amplify your awareness of the situation while also sending you hope and optimism. Saturn can help you see your relationships more objectively. Finally, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction can help you use the law of attraction to improve your committed partnerships. I'll have the rest of the forecast right after this brief message. Did you know that you have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to transform your life with an auspicious Gods of Change astrology alignment? There's a very good chance that the most auspicious window of opportunity of your entire life is happening right now, thanks to an extremely rare alignment of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Click the link in the show notes to learn more, or go to astroshaman.com/gods of change. On to Saturday, June 21st. Deep dive learning and research, possibly involving a mentor, is supercharged by a T-square with Mercury, Chiron, and Pluto. It starts today on June 21st, peaks on the 26th, and ends on July 2nd. Mercury rules all cognition, whether information is coming in or going out. Pluto loves to dive into the depths, supporting investigation and detective work. And Chiron is the mythological mentor, which can help you give or receive wisdom. Also on June 21st, two interlaced fingers of God, formerly called a double yod key, supports empowerment through adjustment. It started on June 14, peaks today on the 21st, and ends on the 29th. It includes Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. This aspect pattern's effects are widespread, so you can adjust for empowerment in any area of life. However, with Mars in Virgo, certain opportunities are highlighted. You can energetically serve others in ways you enjoy, improve your health or the health of others, and take things to the next level of refinement. You can also bring enhanced mindfulness to Mars' natural expressions. These include acting as a warrior, pioneer, sexual being, or entrepreneur. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction in one corner of this double yod key brings additional opportunities. It's great for law of attraction manifestation, embodied awakening, and conscious dissolution. Note, the Sun joins this double yod key June 19 through the 29th in the same corner as Jupiter. Its presence can support shining your light into the world more energetically. Being in Cancer, the Sun can also make it easier to focus on that sign's themes. These include home, family, security, emotions, and shadow work. On Sunday, June 22nd, you might feel pumped up with energy as Mars sextiles Jupiter. Mars, 3 degrees Virgo, Jupiter, 3 degrees Cancer. Mars is the planet of action and includes the warrior among its archetypes. Jupiter is expansive, optimistic, and knows no bounds. Mars can also act as a leader, sexual being, or entrepreneur. Placed in Virgo, it can energize your service, health, and refinement abilities. Also, on June 22nd, challenging emotions, along with the desire to sweep them under the rug, is one potential of the Cancer Sun squaring Saturn. That's the Sun at 2 Cancer and Saturn at 2 Aries. However, you might be better off healing your old traumas once and for all using a quick and effective technique like my free healing invocation. Let me just mention that is linked in the show notes, and both my invocations for healing and embodied awakening are available at astroshaman.com/invocations. The square might also bring up challenges in the areas of family and home, which are other important Cancer themes. If so, use Saturn's positive potentials to face them. These include being mature, wise, and patient. You can also use your time efficiently and plan the work and work the plan. On Monday, June 23rd, achieving or deepening spiritual awakening is one magnificent potential of today's Sun-Neptune square. Sun, 2 degrees Cancer, Neptune, 2 degrees Aries. Thousands do this with surprising ease and speed with my free embodied awakening invocation. linked in the show notes. This square can also boost your inspired creativity and help you operate in flow state. You can also work with your dreams and experience more unconditional love and compassion. At the same time, watch out for Neptune's lower expressions. These include substance abuse, addiction, aimless drifting, and playing the victim. Bonus: the Sun also squared Saturn yesterday and is also working with the combined energies of Saturn and Neptune. This directly supports embodied awakening, boosts your law of attraction power, and can help you with conscious dissolution. On Tuesday, June 24th, the most obvious effect of a Jupiter-Pluto quincunx, Jupiter 3 Cancer, Pluto 3 Aquarius, is Pluto supercharging Jupiter's potentials. It came into orb on June 3rd and remains in effect through July 14th. This 150-degree quincunx calls for helpful adjustments, so stay flexible as you work with these ideas. Upside possibilities include higher education, formal or self-guided as a student, acting as a professor, philosopher, guru, or other wisdom giver, publication, which could include print, audio, or video, learning from foreign cultures and countries, diving into religion, philosophy, and life's meaning, quests and adventures, celebration, euphoria, and enthusiasm. Watch out for Jupiter's low side, which can include overextension and proselytizing for the one true way. Pluto also empowers Jupiter's recent shift into Cancer. This sign energizes home, family, security, emotions, and shadow work. Jupiter also amplifies Pluto's potentials. These include death and rebirth. This could be physical, psychological, and/or shamanic. Wealth. This could be money or material resources and/or anything of any kind that adds value to your life. Power. Its two basic flavors are service to self, which can be greedy, cruel, and destructive, and service to other, where the rising tide of power benefits everyone. Occult practices. These include astrology, tarot, mediumship, channeling, psychic abilities, and more, and can be 100% love and light. Ren Butler masterfully lays out the following Jupiter-Pluto possibilities in his wonderful book, The Archetypal Universe, for the third time in this forecast. I feel blessed to draw from his masterwork on planetary combinations, with his kind permission, to share these possibilities. Let's look at positive potentials of these planets' combined energies first. Great resources and potential, titanic evolutionary forces, the capacity for enormous success, empowerment through education, intensive urges to improve, the recognition that power either benefits all or none, an ethic of right makes might, as opposed to might makes right, dramatic opportunities for regeneration and transformation, beneficial destruction, heavy experiences with a positive outcome, the long trip into and through the underworld of the psyche, triumph through facing death, intense idealism, the faith to move mountains, empowered activism or philanthropy, the urge to share one's transformative experiences with the larger culture, the power of truth. Obviously, this Jupiter-Pluto quincunx has plenty of upside potential, but also stay alert to its darker possibilities. These include extreme material or spiritual ambition, a tendency to feel high and mighty, which threatens those in authority, an obsession with glory and greatness, political drama, delusions of superiority, opportunities to abuse power, runaway power trips, inclinations to act as a law unto yourself, the power elite, plutocracy, obsessive righteousness, fanaticism and overkill, misplaced moral urgency, religious or other dogma, ideals of betterment and progress as a reason to dominate other people and nature, stupendous waste of shared resources. Stay alert to how these potentials are playing out in the world around you, and see how skillfully you can integrate the life-affirming Jupiter-Pluto potentials into your life. Also, on June 24th, The mystic rectangle that started on the 19th peaks today and ends on July 1st. It includes Venus, Juno, and the lunar nodes. And obviously, I talked about that earlier in this episode. Finally, on June 24th, today's Sun-Jupiter conjunction at 3 degrees Cancer is the strongest aspect of tomorrow's new moon. That interpretation is next, right after this brief message. Would you like to speed up your healing and awakening as part of an uplifting community of dedicated awakeners like you? Then check out Awakening Plus, the affordable online membership that can put your personal transformation into high gear. You can choose from about a dozen Zoom calls every month, as well as an ever-expanding archive of more than 800 events that can profoundly change your life. This extraordinary membership also gives you 24/7 community connection and personal support. You'll also benefit from 6 courses and much more to help you awaken, heal, and thrive. To find out more, click the link in the show notes or visit awakeningplus.com. That's awakeningplus.com. On Wednesday, June 25th, one of 2025's most powerful new moons aligns at 6:32 a.m. EDT at 4 degrees 7 minutes Cancer. Its life-transforming potentials are fueled by tight aspects from several potent, slower planets. Any Cancer new moon is ideal for new beginnings or refreshed energy in several areas. These include home, family, and security, as well as healing and emotional expression. Aspects. Double Yod Key. For starters, the new moon incorporates the double Yod Key that peaked on June 21st. This incorporates that aspect pattern's important meanings into the new moon and extends them until the full moon on July 10th. In the rest of this new moon forecast, I'll focus more on individual aspects. Jupiter conjunction. This new moon's most potent aspect is the tight Jupiter conjunction. Just half a degree from the moon and sun, Jupiter acts as a tremendous amplifier for all the potentials described in this forecast. Jupiter also adds plenty of his own meanings to this new moon's possibilities. These may sound familiar. You can engage in advanced studies or share your wisdom with others. You can explore foreign lands and cultures or absorb their insights wherever you are. You can delve into religion, philosophy, or the meaning of life. You can enjoy fiery, euphoric emotions, and you can live life as an adventurous quest. Saturn and Neptune. The new moon squares Saturn and Neptune, which are only half a degree apart from each other. These two planets can empower your law of attraction manifestation and can help you more easily attain and sustain embodied awakening. Pluto. This new moon is also energized by a Pluto quincunx. This aspect encourages adjustments that can boost your wealth and power. Pluto can also support trauma healing and personal transformation. This can include profound psychological or shamanic experiences of death and rebirth. Mars. Mars makes a tight sextile to the luminaries, adding a harmonious power boost to all the new moon's potentials. Mars can also support your activities as a warrior, pioneer, sexual being, or entrepreneur. Vesta, Venus, and Ceres. A Vesta trine harmoniously supports your selfless service to a worthwhile cause. A tight Venus semisquare can bring energy and possible challenge to your relationships, creativity, and finances. Finally, a loose square from the grain goddess Ceres can help support your abundance. Because of Ceres' traumatic encounter with Pluto, who abducted her daughter Persephone, this aspect could also catalyze emotional challenge. If so, my free healing invocation, linked in the show notes, has helped thousands heal old traumas with surprising ease and speed. This new moon Sabian symbol is, at a railroad crossing, an automobile is wrecked by a train. How could this seemingly catastrophic image turn out to be a blessing in disguise? Let's imagine that it was your car and it had stalled on the tracks. You saw the train coming and got out in plenty of time. No one was harmed by the collision. You had been planning to get a new car anyway. Your insurance paid so much for the total vehicle that you ended up buying an even better car than you had imagined. This is a timely image, not just for this new moon, but for the chaotic times we're living in. Things we had always taken for granted are being wrecked all around us. You could give in to apathy or despair, or you can look for the hidden opportunities that unexpected change always brings. How well can you recognize these silver linings? On Thursday, June 26th, the Mercury Chiron Pluto T-square that started on the 21st peaks today on the 26th and ends on July 2nd. On Friday, June 27th, Mercury and Pluto, already partnering in a T-square that peaked yesterday, kick off another aspect pattern today. Their new configuration is a hard rectangle with the lunar nodes. It starts today on June 27th, peaks on the 30th, and ends on July 6th. Deep focused learning and research are once again empowered by the Mercury-Pluto opposition. Their aspects to the lunar nodes encourage you to focus on information that supports your life purpose. A hard rectangle is made entirely of hard and semi-hard aspects. Your greatest rewards may come if you're willing to master some challenges. On Sunday, June 29th, a Mercury-Pluto opposition, Mercury 3 Leo, Pluto 3 Aquarius, is part of two current aspect patterns, a T-square and a hard rectangle. I've already discussed those, and you can click the links in the show notes to learn more about this aspect's potentials in those larger contexts. On Monday, June 30th, a hard rectangle that started on June 27th peaks today on the 30th and ends on July 6th. As you know, it includes Mercury, Pluto, and the lunar nodes. All right, that's June. Coming in my July 1 through 15 forecast, Uranus enters Gemini. That's a very big deal, and we're going to go deep on that. We'll have a Capricorn full moon, Neptune and Saturn turn retrograde, and much more. I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm announcing my free session winner for June. It is spelled K-E-L-E. I don't know if that's Kelly or Keel or Calais. I truly don't know, but K-E-L-E, if it's the only one who has entered. So if that's you, please send me an email, benjamin@astroshaman.com, and we'll get you set up with your free astrology reading. Congratulations. Also, in my breakthrough book, Instant Divine Assistance, learn how easy it can be to experience spiritual awakening within seconds just by requesting it from your higher self, quickly and permanently heal a serious challenge, even one that's caused you years of physical, emotional, or mental suffering, by delegating the work to your inner healer. Call in any kind of energy you want, anytime you want it. Heal and bless others simply by calling it in and being a hollow reed. Thrive in a new normal of harmonious living, enhanced intuition, joyous fulfillment of your responsibilities, and bliss. You can do all this and more with the Instant Divine Assistance invocations. This book gives you everything you need to master them. Plus, you get free access to guided recordings and other valuable online support that will speed up your personal evolution. For over 14 years, the IDA invocations have dramatically improved thousands of people's lives. Isn't it time you also experienced how quick and easy spiritual awakening, healing, and so much more can be? The complete title of my #1 bestseller is Instant Divine Assistance, your complete guide to fast and easy spiritual awakening, healing, and more. It's available in 4 different formats: ebook, audiobook, paperback, and hardcover, for as little as $3.99. It's also in Kindle Unlimited. Click the link in the show notes to learn more, or go to astroshaman.com/book. Thank you for being here. Once again, I'm Benjamin Bernstein with astroshaman.com. I can serve you with astrology readings, shamanic healing, one-of-a-kind life coaching, and deep dive trauma healing. And as I mentioned, I run the Awakening Plus online membership for spiritual support. You can learn all about this and more at astroshaman.com. Please reach out if you have any questions. My email is benjamin@astroshaman.com, and my number for voice and text is 828-338-9852. I'd love to connect with you. We are wrapping up. If I have earned it, please leave me a 5-star rating, review, or comment wherever you're getting this episode to help others discover it. Thanks again for spending this time with me. I wish you infinite blessings as the stars light your way.